Welcome back to another episode of Not for Broadcast. It is a Christmas special, as suggested by the Grinch himself. Avery Silverman said we should have a Christmas special, and we should have Ted on because Ted, you and I talked about it at last Stream League. You wanted to come on the podcast.
No, I didn't say I wanted to come on. I said you'd never had me on. There's a difference.
I already regret this decision, honestly. I already regret it. My only thought process was that if it's a Christmas special, we need to get the most festive person I know. And Ted was eighth on that list, so we fucking got him, boys.
Yeah, is it too dark? I can put another light on here. Hold on.
There you go.
There we go. It's a little better. Yeah, I do love Christmas. I do miss you guys. Obviously, Cap, you were in Sweden when we were there most recently, but Avery was not, and I missed that. We don't get much time. I missed your wife. You did miss her. She was there. She met everybody. All these people I've been talking about for 10 years that she's never met. Yeah. And her I've been talking about, 12 years now. And that's how long I've been working on it. And I've spoken about her and the kids and everything. And I yap about her all the time. And now people got to meet her. You didn't, though.
Ted, time for a moment of honesty, because I did not meet your wife. So I will not, I'm not in the running here. Who was her favorite of everybody she met at Dream League?
I'll ask her.
Okay. Excellent.
You can't just leave the show. Like, what the fuck is this? This guy's so unprofessional. It's unreal, dude. Oh my god. This isn't one of like his dog shit, fucking like Yogscast, whatever, where he's just like meandering about. I regret bringing this guy on, just for the record. Like, he's not coming back, by the way. He's fucking gone.
This is all just a bait just to never come back.
Yeah, he's gonna come back in like 30
really
minutes.
Funny.
He's old as shit. He probably is gonna forget that he's even on this show. He'll come back in an hour. Time to play some Dota.
What if his kids is gonna ask him something and then he's just gonna be like, "Oh shit, the show! I forgot about it."
The answer will shock you.
Okay.
Have a guess.
Why are you out of breath?
Okay.
I ran up and down the stairs, fucking idiot, and I'm 50 years old. When you're 50, I can't wait to see you running Ironmans and all the rest of it.
No, I'm just gonna go in a submarine at like 49.
Who do you think it was? Who do you think it was?
Right. So the people there at Dream League, there was Shiver, Tsunami, Jenkins, BFJ, Effie, Kezu, Lacoste, Purge,
Manon,
Fogged, Manon, OD, Cinderin. So that's the list of talent.
Jenkins.
I'm gonna say Jenkins because you said it was surprising. No,
I don't think she got to chat to Andrew too much.
Okay,
that's unfair then.
Brian?
No, who doesn't like Brian? I mean, he's a lovable guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a wild card guess and say Purge.
No,
I thought he'd appeal to like that British aesthetic thing.
Well, there's not too many people left. Lacoste?
No.
Are we just gonna guess the whole list? Is this like the whole fucking bitch?
I want to see how far down this comes.
Oh my god,
Owen.
I'm not gonna play your sick games, you fucking freak.
I'm not gonna play your sick Kezu. Cinderin. Okay.
Cinderin.
Ted's least favorite talent.
Why?
I hate that guy. We've got beef going back a long way, me and Trolls.
No, not why do you hate him? Why did your wife like him?
Exactly. Yeah. Who fucking knows, dude? I can't answer that. She's her own woman.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, don't worry. We're just in the middle of a show. Take all the time you need. Go down the stairs again if you have to.
Is this how you treat the Triforce podcast, Ted?
No, that's a real podcast, mate.
That's a real podcast.
I'm fucking.
I was just as terrible a guest on fucking Suns Fan and Sins podcast.
When were you on that?
Like, I don't know, last year or something. I don't know. I moaned at them about not being on their podcast.
It's the same thing here. Little would you know that Ted is actually like maybe the biggest. You always ask for shoutouts as well.
Always. I say to everybody, but just before, because the way it goes, people don't. I guess people will know how the show works at Dream League in particular, but at TI as well. It's a bit different, I suppose, at TI because the casters are generally head out earlier, but at Dream League we're only in the green room, just like a 3-minute walk to the studio, if that. So they'll head in there, when the draft is getting near finished. But if you're doing the social media bit or you're early for your shift, you're just chilling with the casters for a bit. And I always, when it's just me and them, I'm like, hey, you guys could give me a shout out. And I bugged Suns fan and Syndrome about this for months. I would be like, you guys should really give me a shout out on the cast. So now they do it every cast. They're like, shout out to Pyrion Flax when they fucking Shannon runs out of shit to say. It makes my day. It's just funny.
What do you need the shout outs for, though?
It's funny that they did it. Why would you do it?
But like, what are they shouting out? Just
they just say exist? Shout out. They just give me a shout out for nothing. I think it's
Why
funny.
Don't you shout me out?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Give me a shout out. Nice about you. I say you're fantastic.
Yeah, and then you talk behind my back all the time. That's
no, I tell you to your face you're a piece of shit. I don't.
Well, you do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
That.
All right, you just finished up the Yogscast does the jingle jam, whatever the fuck you guys call it. How did that go this year?
We raised £2.5 million, and that was it's 2 weeks long. I was there for the second week, so I go down Bristol has creators that are part of the Yogs that live in Bristol, which is a city about 2 hours west of London. So, I mean, it's not a wide country. That's basically width of the UK. So it's on the other coast from me. And
where is that from? Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. There's no S, but I appreciate you remembering it, brother. So if you drew a V shape, you'd have London, Bournemouth, Bristol. So it's like that. So I don't know what the distance.
No, I know exactly where it is now.
Hypotenuse. There you go. It's right on the south coast in the middle. Anyway, I have done the drive London to Bournemouth to Bristol. It's a very nice drive. The Bournemouth to Bristol part, beautiful. Beautiful. Avery, if we ever get the chance, I'll drive you from Bournemouth to Bristol, I promise. It'll definitely come up. Next time you're at my mum's, I'll take you from Bournemouth to Bristol, okay? So...
I look forward to it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of creators that live in Bristol. There's a bunch of us that we refer to as sort of external. So, we don't live in Bristol. We're not in the office or anything like that. So for the second week of Jingle Jam, when everyone's kind of flagging a little bit because it's a lot of streams, it's quite intense, we all come in and sort of the cavalry, and we'll sort of do some extra stuff and provide a bit more energy because we haven't just done a week of it. So I always come down for the second week. And there are certain streams every year that I do that I look forward to more than anything else all year. And they were a lot of fun this year. And a lot of streams I hadn't done before as well. So, yeah, it was really, really, really good.
All right, I have a question for you, Ted.
Go on, brother.
Why the fuck then? Why are you laughing? I didn't even ask you.
Because it's going to be a bullshit question. You're going to be rude.
No, it's not. There's real journalism on this channel.
All right, go on then.
Why the fuck then are you always fucking bitching about you don't work enough events to make enough money if you just made $2.5 million fucking quid?
It's for charity, you moron.
Yeah, you're a fucking charity. Why'd you do? That's a lot of money, dude. What are you gonna do with all of it?
Well, it goes to a whole bunch of different charities, of course.
Well, that's kind of lame. Why don't you should buy a Lambo like Mr. Beast or something and make another video and then make 5 million quid off that video.
Yeah, that would be good.
What was your favorite bit from this year? You say you look forward to it the entire year.
Yeah.
So every year it's a little bit different, right? But you have some routine bits. What was the standout for this year?
There's one stream I do every year that I really enjoy, which is we do a poker tournament. And it's like, I think it's either 4 tables of 6 leading to a final table of 6, where the last 2 are decided by like the closest second places. And it's about an 8-hour stream, and it's me and my buddy Tom. We commentate on the poker from like 5, 6 o'clock until whenever it finishes. And we just get drunk, and the poker is awful because nobody actually knows how to play, and it is so much fun. So, I mean, oddly enough, my background before Dota was I worked in poker television. That was what I did. So poker's been a thing that I've watched for years, and I really do love it. And I still play. I played the other night with my mates.
Wait. What the fuck does poker television mean?
Poker TV. Like TV, poker on television.
Like you were broadcasting on it?
Yeah, I was part of the broadcast team. I wasn't on camera.
Like an analyst. You were a poker analyst.
No, I was a researcher, or I was in the gallery providing the producer and director with information about the storyline of the hands and the tournament and stuff like that.
What the fuck? That's That's pretty badass for
Yeah, Ted had a real
you,
job
man.
in
What
broadcasting
the hell?
before, our
Were you in,
shit
like-
esports broadcasting.
Were you in like Vegas or something, or
No, I never went to Vegas. I worked for Sky. You've heard of Sky, right? The Sky TV. It's like Fox.
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent.
yeah.
So they did poker tournaments, and then I did other stuff as a sort of freelancer, and then I worked for Sky's poker television channel, which they had for a couple of years. I did that for a couple of years freelance, and then when our eldest was born, I got fired, and I was also about to quit. So whatever, I'll take it. Because one of us needed to stop working, and my job was super flaky, and I thought Mrs. F has an actual career, so I'll quit, and I don't know what I'll do. And then of course 3 years later, I started doing all this shit.
What was that 3 years like when you were just a dad at home? Like, were you trying to figure out what you wanted to do? Were you like trying different things before you got into?
Yeah. I did a few things actually. I did so I was a computer programmer by trade. I did that at university. I worked for British Aerospace in the UK for 5 years, and then I hated it, so I quit. And I would have been about 28, 29, I guess, and I quit and didn't know what to do and looked around for work for a while. Did some things. I did some film reviews for a while for a website. I did some copywriting for a couple of magazines, and I did just odd jobs basically. And then I got a job at Sky because my half brother works in television, and he knew a guy that got me an interview, and I was the oldest person in that position they'd ever had. It was like the entry level position. So
all right, no need to brag on this channel.
No. It was so bad, but it was good money. I had nothing, but then when you get to know people, like in any industry, you get to know a few people, you get gigs here and there. So when I quit work, I hadn't really had a proper job for a while. Like the poker TV stuff was freelance, so it was like maybe 3 days, 4 days a week, if that. Sometimes they wouldn't need you for a week. So it wasn't regular work. So I was kind of used to having days to myself. And then obviously when my eldest was born, we made the decision pretty early on. One of us is going to have to stop working, and it's clearly going to be me because why wouldn't it be? And I was the only stay-at-home dad in my area. It was all mums. So I'd go into a play group, and people would think, "Oh gosh, he must be unemployed. That poor family," or it must be his turn. And then they got to know me, and it was me every time. And I found that the mums didn't want to talk to me much, and I can kind of understand it looking back. First of all, a lot of the chat is probably complaining about their husbands, which is fair enough, or talking about kids, which is another thing they talk about a lot. And they probably thought he won't want to talk about that. So I would just bring a newspaper, and I'd just be the dad there with the newspaper up, sitting there and occasionally peek and see how my kid was doing in the playgroup, and then back to the newspaper. We'd go for walks. I had a backpack that had a slot where you could put a child, and like Luke and Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. And I would carry her around, and we'd go for big walks, and then I'd take her out for lunch and stuff. And it was genuinely, looking back now, it was very tedious because it's very monotonous. Babies need routine, and it's just like the same shit. There's no conversation. You're just with this tiny person all day. But I would not ever say that I regretted it. I absolutely loved it. And the bond I have with my kids is so much stronger, I think, than a lot of dads, I should say, have with their kids, because I've been there. I've been with them when they were babies and now all the way through. So to me, it was beautiful, and I don't miss it at all. But fuck me, it was boring sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, it was boring. But then out of that boredom, I started doing these guides, the Dota guides. So it was literally sheer boredom that drove me to do anything. And I never thought it would make any money. And of course, then once Valve emailed me, I was like, oh shit, this might actually be something. That was it.
I think that's one of the great drivers of man is boredom.
100%.
Yeah. Like, I think that's
100%.
half of why Da Vinci did what he did. If you really look at it, he's just bored.
Yeah.
He's just bored out of his mind. I'm going to start painting,
I mean, the weird thing is, back then, we talk about all these great people of the past. Why don't we have that kind of greatness again? There's so much shit to do. Like, you could distract yourself in 2 fucking seconds.
Exactly, dude. like if Michelangelo had an iPhone, you think he
He
does
ain't painting
anything?
shit. He ain't painting
He's on
shit.
he's on fucking TikTok all day.
Yeah.
That fucker is lazy, unemployed. He ain't doing nothing. But when you're
Nothing.
sitting in a fucking monastery with brick walls for 10 hours, you develop a craft.
Dude,
I think we need more of that, Ted,
no
now that you bring
music.
it up.
There's no music. There's no
Mhm.
recorded music anywhere. If you want to listen to music, you got to find the band and hope that they know how to play that song. Like, there's nothing. You cannot just listen to music. Imagine that. There's no movies. There's no TV. There's nothing.
That's right.
Fuck.
It's just you,
Unbelievable.
God, and your job.
Whew.
That's life right there. Would you want to go back to that style of
But I didn't grow up. I know I'm old, but no, I would not go back to
You
it. No.
long for those days, Ted.
I don't pine for the days of Da Vinci. He was kind of a dick, actually. Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about reading a newspaper. I feel like maybe some of the audience
That was
never read
15
one,
years
so.
ago, you know. Smartphones have come a long way in 15 years.
So Dota is going to be the downfall of human civilization, basically. Takes
I
up
don't
too
know about
much
Dota.
people time.
I think the internet has definitely been. I think as much as it's been great, and obviously all three of us owe our careers to it.
Mhm.
well,
What do you do off the internet? What do you got to fucking
well,
farm
I
with
was
some
just
shit?
saying, I mean, I wouldn't say I owe my career.
What do you owe it to?
The providence of I don't know. Luck, really. I think that's most of it.
Lucky the fucking internet exists.
Yeah.
Well, the internet's an enabler.
Yeah, but without the internet, what, are you going to be a Dota player without the internet? You're going to cast games and stream them on the internet without the internet?
It's possible.
Yeah, fair. Can't argue with
Back
that.
when there was no recorded music, you had to go find the music. Got to go find the Dota.
All right, I have a philosophical question for you, Ted. In this line of thinking, do you think Dota is more of a distraction people fall into, or a craft that they hone over time? And I'm talking about the real degenerates now, right? The guys like Quinn or Yatoro who play like 40,000 hours of their life. I mean, I have like 40,000 hours, so I guess I'm in that category. Most of us are. But the guys who are good, not like you. Like the guys who are really professional
Mm,
that have turned it into something of merit.
yeah.
Was it because they decided consciously to hone a craft, or did they just fall into that degeneracy pit? And if you put that amount of hours into something, it's like a selection thing. Somebody out of all of the degenerates going to be good, but there's another 1,000 degenerates that put in 40,000 hours that aren't good. Yatoro could have been one of them.
Yeah, you could have. So I know that this is a weird answer, I guess, but people talk about natural talent versus training and practice and stuff like that a lot. And it's a big argument. It doesn't seem to have really been a resolution to it. I am a firm believer in a lot of things. Natural talent plays a big part, and that talent can necessarily take the form of athletic brilliance or speed of thought or coordination. I'm a very uncoordinated person. I tried playing instruments. I just can't. Some people can just make their fingers work and their minds work so quickly, and they can memorize patterns and they can learn from every mistake. And that's to say that that's not a talent, I think is wrong. I think that is a talent, having that ability. And if you told me that 400 years ago Quinn would have been just as successful, I would say it's hard to say because I don't know what he would have been successful at 400 years ago, but certainly he found his niche now as someone who is exceptionally good at video games. And that's not just video games, that's like coordination, speed of thought, strategy, teamwork, all of that, along with the ability to learn really quickly how to play something that other people have also been playing for years. You see these kids come along that are 16, 17, they haven't got 40,000 hours. They've barely been alive for 40,000 hours. And they're up there beating these guys who've been playing their entire lives. How do you do that? You do that because you learned really quickly. You have incredible coordination and stuff like that. So I think when you do something, if you're good at it, it's appealing. If you're bad at it, in my instance, sometimes it's appealing because you had fun anyway. But you're going to stick with something more and try to excel at it if you're really good at it. There's not many people who you meet are really good at something and never enjoyed it. I think it's you tried something, you were good at it, you were beating people. That's kind of a rush. That's kind of a high. You realize you're getting better. You're beating better and better players, and now you want to beat the best players, and now you become driven. So I think if it speaks to you early on, it's gonna carry you. And I think for someone like Quinn, it just carried him. I'm sure all of these guys, they're not degenerates, because there's tons of people out
they're
there.
degenerate.
Oh, they're degenerates.
They are absolutely
They are
degenerate. Like, I include myself
I
in
think
that.
Of course.
90% of the pro players are on the degenerate line.
I mean, I will say
at some
this.
point in time, they like by becoming a pro, they were degenerates. Now, maybe once they became a pro,
Right,
and
right, they
matured a
became
bit,
less.
right. Then all of a sudden, oh, I got to take this more seriously. They started training and stuff. But I think it is. I think it is by far the minority of pro players that
Yeah.
actually came into Dota with the mindset of, I'm going to work at this. I'm going to get better. And I think Avery was actually one of those people, right?
But he's a very self-improvement kind of guy.
Yeah.
No, I was
Like-
degenerate too.
Right, but
Like,
I
I
think
played
you're
Dota
different.
because I didn't want to fill out applications. for
I
grad
think you're
school.
different from a lot of people. Because when
you told me you specifically set out to like, oh, I'm going to work at this to become a pro.
Yeah, so I didn't have to fill out applications.
Well, I mean, you know.
But that's not a degenerate decision. That's just a decision. That's like quite.
It's pretty
that's
degenerate.
a pretty logical decision. If you were like, I'm actually pretty good at this. If I put in more effort,
Yeah,
could
you
make
didn't
money
just
from this.
like grind hours because you were enjoying the game mindlessly, and that just ended up being like, oh, I'm
Oh,
actually
okay,
really
sure.
good. I'm going to
Yeah.
be a pro player. Yeah,
Yeah, I
which
made a
think
conscious
more pro
decision.
players fall into that category of just
I mean,
like
look
you
at
just
Thompson.
grinded a bunch, and all of a sudden they were one of the best.
Thompson's a good example of that, right? He's just a pub player. He's just smashing pubs day and night. And someone's like, do you want to play on our team? It's like, sure. And he wins 2 TIs. It's like, that's the dream, isn't it? You're just playing games and someone, like, a beam of light comes down from heaven. It's like, would you like to be a millionaire? He's like, fine. And they sucks him up. He makes his money and then it drops him back down.
Yeah, and it's done the same thing. He's back to playing his party queue with
Just
his
chilling.
friends.
Yeah. But yeah, the degeneracy of here's another thing I'll say is a lot of people on the Dota scene have either ADHD or something adjacent to it. And I think of a lot of the games that I've played, this is a game that appeals to a wide spectrum of people, but who a lot of us have something in common, which is some kind of ADHD adjacent, brain.
Well, you were there
we need
in
to
you
be
were there in
occupied.
Copenhagen when we had that discussion, right?
Yeah.
About how Dota fucks up your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it absolutely does. I also
Yeah.
think it attracts people with fucked up brain
Of
chemistry.
course.
And I think it attracts people who have the tendencies that lead you down the path to fucked up brain chemistry in the first place. So it just compounds it. And I think it's exactly what you're talking about. There's like an ADHD element, but I also think if you don't want to diagnose something, which, none of us are doctors, despite what Ted believes. So I think it's just a general boredom. Like, I think it's people who just get bored in life easily.
Maybe, but
And
why
not all-
this game?
Because Dota will always be different. Every
Yeah.
game is different, and it has an extreme range in terms of the emotional scale, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
Right? The lows are extremely low, and the highs
Oh.
are really high. There's almost nothing else that provides that extreme
It's
range
true.
as
Yeah.
consistently. So it makes everything else seem boring relative to it, even if that's not true. And then when you go back to something normal, you have to rewire your brain.
It's also
Like,
free.
It's fucked.
Just saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, it extracts
A
your
cost.
soul one game at a time.
Yeah.
You do pay a price.
I mean,
It's not
my
on Steam,
recent
though.
games have been, in terms of highs to lows, I'm just looking now. There've been some high highs and some low lows. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
That's Dota. But
Yeah, Ted,
don't care.
you're one of the only like me and Avery will probably mostly play Dota. We play some random other like indie game shit, but you're actually a streamer who does do things outside of Dota.
yeah.
Do you feel like there's a tie between the games that actually keep you interested outside of Dota? Because I do feel like the shooter battle royale that you play all the time.
Tarkov.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a hardcore game like Dota. That is a punishing game, right?
That is brutal. I mean, but so before Eve, I played before Dota, I played Eve Online, which is a very similarly brutal, unforgiving, miserable experience, punctuated by high highs and the lowest lows. I don't know what it is about me that attracts me to these games, but the feeling I stopped playing Tarkov last year online. I played the PvE version, which is basically against bots, because I just couldn't get anywhere. It was too hard. There were a lot of cheaters in Tarkov as well. A lot of real money traders, and they'll cheat. They'll hoover up all the loot on the map. So I stopped. There is a version of Tarkov called SPT, which is single player Tarkov, which is a mod that someone's made unofficially, which is far superior to the Battlestate Games version of single player Tarkov. And I might play that this year because, like Dota, when you've played Tarkov and enjoyed it, nothing comes close. And I haven't played, for instance, Counter-Strike since I started playing Tarkov. Barely at all. Because I was like, man, this just doesn't feel right. There's something about the guns, the shooting, the atmosphere, the look of it, that continual little brain feeding of like, oh, loot, oh, sound, is it an enemy? I killed an enemy. Oh, just feeding dopamine into my brain. And Dota's like that. When you like get 4 denies on a guy mid in a row, and you're like, oh yeah, oh, and he's like fucking stomping around in a rage. There's nothing like it. Like, Dota is so fucking good. When you get a rampage in Dota and you know they cannot kill me, I am unkillable this game. Very few games come close to that. But you don't feel like, oh, cheat, this isn't fair. You think, yes, more! And you try to get more and more. You just want more and more. So Tarkov is like that. Eve's like that. Dota's like that. There's certain games that just, they just push the buttons.
Have you ever done heroin, Ted?
No, my wife has always told me stay away from any serious.
She's
drugs.
always told you to do heroin. You should try it. Try it at least once, Ted.
Just once, Ted. No, she's like, don't ever do it because you have an addictive personality, and I do. I get addicted to shit for sure.
You're really into the Hearts of Iron series, right?
I play a lot of Hoi. Yeah.
Okay. Sell me on that game because I've only seen like little bits and pieces.
Yeah,
of
every
it.
time I log on to Steam or like I check my Steam friends list, I see Ted playing Hearts of Iron as the German Reich in 1942.
Dude.
I'm like, man, he's really enjoying the other side of things. Like, really putting in that war effort there. It's never some fucking like allied unit. It is always the German Reich. Or today I saw you were playing it today actually, but you were playing as the Soviet Union.
Yes,
so I'll give you some credit. I'll give you some credit.
So,
that's a little mixed bag because they had some other plans. So that's like halfway. But it's always the fucking German Reich. I'm just sitting there like, man, this guy's got to have like 90% of his Hearts Iron hours in the fucking German Reich.
Off camera, there's a lot of Nazi memorabilia on these walls.
I would not be surprised at all.
Just got a cellar full of it.
So the reason, so Nazi Germany is the 50% of all Hearts of Iron games involve people playing as Nazi Germany. So I got that stat from Paradox themselves when we went to PDXCon a few years ago. And the reason for that is...
Yeah, you really looked for that one. Like, you wanted to make sure you had that stat up here. Well, actually, over 50% of it's not just me.
Not alone here. There's a lot of Nazis out there, is all I'm saying. It's because, like, in Hearts of Iron terms, they're the least restricted nation. So you can do whatever you want. And they've got the most potential to basically do whatever because they've got fascism at the very start. You've got a leader who can just do whatever he wants, loads of political power. You've got a huge ability to build up your industry and start invading shit ASAP. If you're playing as the US, historically, accurately, you didn't do shit for fucking years. And you sit on your ass and, we're just going to make some fucking flowers and put them in, each other's hair. Fuck off. We're fighting a war over here. So if you're in Europe, shit gets real quick. So Germany is a nice, easy pick to try and dominate the world, which is the most fun part of the game. I do play as the UK a lot, and that is a lot of fun as well. But you've got a big empire to manage, and it's all over the fucking place. You've got a great navy. You can go a bunch of different ways. America is awful to play. Japan is awful to play. Russia is fun to play, and a lot of the minor nations are fun to play. So there are 2 versions of Hoi you can play with the base game: historical and ahistorical. So the historical, all the countries will do more or less what they did in the war. Ahistorical, who fucking knows? It's all up in the air. You might end up with communist Germany, fascist France, fascist Britain, and communist Spain, and America can have civil wars and go communist. It's all over the place. So if you're a fan of history, if you're a history buff, and you don't mind spending quite a few hours getting to grips with the UI and the fiddly bits of Hearts of Iron, it's a lot of fun. And no two games feel the same. I would say don't try playing multiplayer because the guys that play multiplayer are like, there's no MMR in Hoi. So I played multiplayer games, and you'll have a bunch of heralds playing against the guy who's like immortal at Hearts of Iron, which is something to be immortal at, I guess. And they fucking know every nation, every focus tree, every unit, the exact composition, and they'll fucking destroy you. But it's a really fun game. If you like history, if you like that period of history, World War II, it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like part of it is that similar to Dota, you said every game is different. Like you'll never have the same game. I feel like that's a tie of just like Dota does really, really well. That's why I'm always tied to like roguelikes, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Dota is a roguelike in some ways.
Yeah, but isn't it weird that it's the same map, the same heroes, and the same items, and often, depending on the hero you're playing, same item build up, same lanes. But I mean, I know that you've got 120 something heroes, so it's unlikely it's going to be the exact same 10 heroes in any game. But it does happen. But it always feels different because of the items I get or how the lanes go. And I don't think I've ever been bored playing Dota. Maybe in an 80-minute game where we're just fucking defending high ground or they're defending high ground. It's tedious, but you've still got in the back of your mind, I really don't want to fucking lose this now. So the pressure starts to go up. Even though the gameplay might become more boring, the tension goes up as the game goes longer. You think, fucking hell, 60-minute items are coming up. They're all going to get mirror shields with fuck. It's that continual change. I mean, I know that you guys are asking about other games that I play. I've always said this. If it doesn't matter what I'm playing, if someone invites me to a stack and said we need +1, I'm fucking dropping whatever I'm doing and I'm going to go play in that stack because nothing is as much fun as Dota. I played one solo queue game this morning, my first in several years. It was Turbo, and immediately put me off playing solo queue again. But the lad recognized my voice. He was like, "You sound like Pyrion Flax." I was like, "Shut up!" And he was like, "We got this, P-Flax." And then he fucking got the team of the morale up and we won the game. It was really funny. But yeah,
wait,
it was
you
like,
won the game and you were like, I'm not going to play solo queue again.
No. This guy was this sniper in my lane. I was Witch Doctor. He was sniper. I go top to rotate because he's doing fine. The wave's pushed. Everybody's missing. I go top. We get a kill on their carry. When he rotates, surprisingly, mid didn't call missing, rotates, kills me. And he's like, Witch Doctor, I don't know where you are. I don't mind you rotating to the top lane, but why are you not here? I was like, shut the fuck
accent?
up. He was German. He said, Witch Doctor, I don't know why you can rotate for the gank, but then you must come back. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the other guy, the guy who's playing Mars, he's like, it's not that deep, bro. Bro, it's not that deep. It's okay. I was like, this fucking guy, I don't like the way he spoke to me. I don't like what he said. I don't like his fucking attitude. He's a bad teammate. And that's when he said, "You sound
Wait,
like."
what was that accent?
That was me.
No, the Mars. What was the Mars accent?
He was American guy.
What fucking server are you playing? Like,
he was playing an American accent.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't recommend solo games, man. That shit's rough.
I basically only ever play Pi. Just get my lads in and play. It's fun. It's fun because you can share in the bad shit and have a laugh with it. And we've got like meme drafts that we have, and we know how we're going to play and how we're going to lane. It's too much fun. You're all in voice together, having a laugh. Just playing solo. It's amazing how many people
humans bond really fast over shared misery.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like one of the fastest bonding mechanisms. I mean, you've been in the military, Austin, so you know.
That's true.
You put
when
people
you
in
were on the front
situation.
lines, Austin, taking grenades for America in the face, you bonded real quick with those guys. Show them your purple heart. Show the podcast your purple heart.
Why do you think he was asking about Heart's Iron? He's like, I gotta get back into the action.
Can I be a Nazi in that? Can I be a Nazi? I want to take over the fucking world, bro.
I'm serious though. Like you have people that share bad. I think humans that share a bad experience are more bonded than humans that share a good experience.
100%.
Like 99% of the time.
100%.
And Dota is always the bad experience that gets lodged in your brain. You don't remember the good ones unless you maybe you win a LAN or something. You're like, oh, that was pretty good. Nobody remembers like some good pub they won.
No.
But you remember that game. It was the most miserable fucking game with the miserable people ever. And if you have friends with you, then like 3 years later, you can be like, hey, you remember that fucking piece of shit? You know, we're up against him again.
Yeah.
It's time for the revenge tour.
Yeah,
It's like it's
100%.
good bonding. I mean, it's
Well,
not good
except for the
mental
part
health.
where sometimes that friendship gets broken because you're playing Dota together. That also
well,
happens.
I mean,
I
but then
did
you-
have that last year. I had that last year actually.
Was
Yeah.
Jack Chen?
No, I love Jack. I couldn't fall out with Jack because it's just, what do you expect? Do you know what I
I
mean?
almost fell out with Jack last night. He was in our party, but he wasn't even playing Dota. He was just sitting in the fucking Discord call, and he was munching on sunflower seeds. It sounded like
Oh,
he
that's
was
a classic.
eating glass.
That's
the
a
entire.
classic.
It was like 3 hours of this. I just
That's a
kept telling
classic.
Jack, "Shut the fuck up."
Oh, I love Jack. He's such
That's
a funny
classic.
guy. The
That's
thing
a
is,
classic
Jack
right
isn't
there.
like a comedian who's going to come in and spit jokes, but just the way he is himself is to me
Mhm.
amusing. He's just a innately lovable, funny guy.
You know what I think it is? Because I've known him for a long time.
yeah, you've known him a
You know,
long fucking time.
I've lived with the guy. I think it is an innocence. It's
Yes.
a childlike innocence embodied in an adult that you don't see. Like, people talk about that, like some people have it, but almost nobody actually has it. His is genuine.
Yeah,
His is a genuine, like, he's just a dude in the world, you know?
and he's a New
And,
Yorker. Like, you
yeah,
think he
he's
grew up
just
in the
chill.
fucking country. This dude's a fucking New Yorker. He acts like he's never fucking met a person in his life. How does he survive? Does he leave the house? Come on.
That's the life of Jack, you know? It's
It's
like, it's a
incredible.
mystery. That's
He
why I
must
think
have
it's
got
amazing.
mugged like every 2 hours in New York. Like, he's just walking.
He has been mugged, actually.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you mug him? You look at him, he's like, fucking mug this guy. Look at this guy. It wasn't even a mugger. It was just some guy. Just
It was
mugged
just
him.
some guy who just saw
Some guy.
Jack.
I was
He
like,
was
this
like,
guy looks
I gotta
muggable.
mug this guy.
Never done it in my
Yeah,
life. Never will again.
He was remorseful at the police station. I didn't want to do it. He
No,
gave
let
me
the
no
guy.
choice.
I'm not a mugger, but look at this guy. And they're like, yeah, fair enough.
I'm a stockbroker. I didn't even need the money. That's going to be the headline for this episode, Ted. Why wouldn't you mug him? Just a picture of Jack's face.
Yeah, that's good.
So Ted, I pulled up your Yogscast wiki
Oh,
before
God.
this.
It's so full of bullshit.
Yeah, there's a lot of trivia here. I need to ask you about.
Yeah.
You have an illegitimate son named Gregory, a chipper
No.
young northern lad engaged to the bird from Dolmio adverts.
The Dolmio adverts. Dolmio is like
Dolmio.
an Italian sauce you can put on pasta. It's terrible. And the adverts were a series of puppets, kind of like the Muppets. And there was one of the characters was a girl, and obviously that's probably my mate Munticus has added that. You know ESL Axel,
Yeah.
not the producer Axel, the other Axel. He baits Greg with stupid shit like that all the time. Like all these, can you believe Greg thought, and it'll be some absolute nonsense, which is not true. Greg also now works for ESL, by the way. But so yeah, it's he's not my illegitimate son. He's just a lad that I play Dota with, and he's a top lad. But yeah, there's a lot of shit on that wiki.
Do you have a related question? Do you have a criminal record, Ted?
No, I don't. Other than driving
Really?
tickets. Yeah, other than speeding tickets, no.
How
No,
many
like-
speeding tickets you got?
2.
Not
Not tickets. We don't do tickets as much. It's normally a camera that catches you. So
Yeah.
I got caught by a speed camera twice in a week. One in Bristol and one in Bournemouth.
I
as you
knew
would-
it.
I was
knew it
driving. I
Bournemouth.
drove to Bournemouth.
You had to get to your mom's house real
Yeah,
quick,
had
huh?
to
Just
drop her
going
off.
90.
I had to drop her off, and it goes from the motorway down to a dual carriageway. So it goes from like 70 down to 40 in a fairly short space of time, and I missed it. I just didn't slow down quite quick enough, and got 48 in a 40. So that was 3 points on my license. And then when I was going to Bristol, same thing, coming off the motorway, hit a camera, 45 in a 40, 3 points on my license. You get 15 points, your license is gone. And they remove, I think it's 3 points every couple of years. They'll take 3
I mean,
points
you
off.
can get there, man. You can get there. Keep it up.
I did the speed awareness course. That was the first time I got actually. So I did get caught speeding 3 times, but the first time I got caught, they said you can either have 3 points in your license or you can do the speed awareness course. And the speed awareness course was you go sit in a classroom with a bunch of old men, which is exclusively what it was. Like I did not consider myself an old man in their company. Like I was like the youngest guy there. Just all these old lads who were not listening. And I was like,
nobody
this
else has time to do this shit on a weekday or something, you know?
No, but they also just didn't give a shit. They just fucking speed everywhere. They drink, drive, they speed, they don't give a fuck. Old drivers are the worst, dude. They're fucking terrible.
Just
Because they
sounds like
think
you're being
it's fine, it's fine.
shipped out to war or something. They put me in a vehicle with a bunch of older men,
bunch of old veterans,
old
They
drinking
care.
men.
Yeah. But so I did the course, and since then I've stopped speeding. I used to love burning around. and
What though? The
felt
course
fun.
worked.
Yeah,
Is what
no,
you're saying.
100%, 100%.
Wait, what? Why did it work? What was in there?
It was statistically accurate and scientifically done. I thought it was good. He told me the
Hmm.
statistics, and I was like, that makes sense. And I just stopped. I was like, yeah, that's
Statistics
actually right.
about what? Like how many
Survival
children get
rates
run
based on
over a year or
speed.
something?
Yeah, stuff like that. Difference between doing 35 and 30 survival rates of a child. It flips. It goes from 1 in 5 chance they survive at 35 to 1 in 5 chance they die at 30. And that's assuming you hit them at 30. If you can hit the brakes in time, you hit them at 15, 20, survival rate goes way up. 70 mile an hour on a motorway, there's no,
So
that's fine.
So you know a lot about this, Ted. Let's say I want to get over that threshold of where the chance of survival for the kid
Yeah.
drops considerably. At what point is that? 45,
If you hit
50?
a person at 40 miles an hour in a car, there's
Yeah.
almost no chance they survive.
All right. So if
40
I'm driving
miles an
through a
hour
school zone, I should really
at 40.
pump it up to 40 quickly.
Like, if anyone doubts that, just think how much kinetic energy that is. Because the
Yeah.
difference between 30 and 35 is not just, oh, it's only a little bit quicker. The amount of energy in that car when it hits you is a lot more. Like, I mean, look at the survival rate, literally flips. So 40 miles an hour, I mean, if you are in a car at a 70 mile an hour crash, you hit something at 70, you're probably going to die. Like, it's that fucking dangerous. So the speed awareness stuff, I know it seems kind of stupid, but I really was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. So I drive real sensible now.
You know, we need more people like you
I
in
got one
society,
story
Ted.
about this. Thank you. I got a ticket 2 weeks ago. It was in my name. I opened it up. I was like, I definitely haven't been speeding. What the fuck is this? I look at it and it says, we caught you on camera in Bournemouth doing 48 in a 40. I was like, there's no fucking way. I was so careful. I checked the dates. I wasn't there. It was Mrs. F. She had to fill out the form. She's going to have to do the speed awareness course. Looking forward to it.
Well, you didn't tell her the stats?
She doesn't drive much.
You know, all I had in my brain when you said that was I was picturing you reading this like, that kid I hit definitely didn't fucking die. There's no way I was going over 35.
He had like a 90% chance to survive.
He got up and stumbled at least 10 feet. Right? There's no way I was going over 40.
No.
Ted claimed to have worked on a psychic TV show with the late Colin Fry, though
True
no
story.
evidence has been found. You worked
True
on a
story.
psychic TV
Yeah.
show. Is this before or after poker?
Before. So, well, kind of. I worked at Sky in the sports department for about 18 months, 2 years, freelance. And then I was offered a job. I applied, and I was offered a job as production manager on a TV series for a company in Docklands in central London. And I thought it'd be nice to work in central London because I haven't done that before. And I didn't know what the show was. They needed a production manager. I'd never been a production manager before. For anyone that doesn't know, if you're ever working on a series or a film, production manager is responsible for location hiring, accommodation, equipment hire, all that kind of stuff. So you're like the logistics manager for the shoot. And I'd never done it before. I had no experience of it. But they were like, our IT system at this office is fucked. And you have a computing degree. So we're hoping that you're good with numbers. You're a smart guy. They were wrong on both counts. But you could also, fix our ET problems. And I was like, great, because I needed the work and it would look good on a CV. At this point, I was still thinking I might make some kind of career in television. So I took the job. It was a 1-year contract, and it was for a psychic detective show called Psychic Detectives. Oh, Psychic Private Eye with Colin Fry. And I was the production manager for a year.
Did you actually like?
You got
I
questions?
Did you
I have
any
nothing on that one.
interactions with the psychics involved? Yeah.
Production manager goes along on the shoots a lot of the time.
Okay. So did they keep up the bit the entire time that they were psychics, even when the cameras were off? Did they ever do something that you were like, damn, how'd he get that?
No, dude.
Mm.
Well, they were
I mean, a
just
lot of
bad
these
then,
guys
or
are
what?
like,
No, it's a con. It's a con.
of
It's
Well, you
course
can
it's a
still be
con.
you
I'm
can be a
saying,
mentalist though. You know.
yeah,
Right,
you could
right.
be a
So,
mentalist, right? They
right,
usually have
so
tricks that they do.
a mentalist is not that different from a psychic. You're right.
Hmm.
A psychic will attempt to tell you that it's real, but mentalists quite often don't just go off. Like mentalists will have like a plant in the audience, for example. It's quite a common thing for mentalists to use, or they'll have spotters in the audience. I went to a mentalist act one time, and he was very good, American guy. He was excellent. But at the start of the show, when we're all sitting down, I noticed that you had like it was like in a theater, so you had like the seating down here in the stalls, and then you had like the upper bit, the balcony. And there were these two older guys, about the same age as the guy that we were about to be seeing, sat exactly opposite, and they looked at each other and they sort of gave a signal and sat down. And I realized that, oh, those are the spotters. So they'll have a little microphone and he'll have an earpiece. And one of the things he does is he blindfolds himself and then he gets someone in the audience to hold an item up and he will psychically determine what it is. And I was like, well, these guys are clearly saying to him, it's like a necklace. It looks like it might be silver plated, gold plated. So he's like, I'm getting a necklace. It might be silver plated or gold plated. You're like, oh my God. So a mentalist will use more tricks like that. A lot of the psychics will use something called cold reading, where you fish around for facts about someone and you base it off what they're wearing, what their name is, what their last name is, what their accent is like, whether you think they're rich or poor, whether they look, how they respond to words and sounds that you say. So they'll say things like, it's a male presence. He's older. And they will be scanning the audience and looking for someone going like that, thinking, oh my God, that's my father. That's what they feed off. So they're just con men. I think there's a difference between that, where they're really trying to fool people into thinking it's real, versus a mentalist, which is much more like a magic trick, I would suggest.
I found this TV show on IMDb. The summary: when cops fail, psychics assist. Vicky, Gale, and Jim use visions to aid police in solving cold cases of
Yeah.
missing/murdered persons and provide closure.
Wait. Is Ted on the IMDb page?
I
Does
am
Ted
on
have an
IMDb, but not on that one. Let me look if I can psychic private eye.
I control F. I didn't find anything
IMDb.
immediately.
I'll have a look. 2006 to 2007. This would have been the right kind of time. Top cast. So Jacob Melton is on there. I'm not on there. That's shocking.
That was right before the financial crisis.
That's true.
I guess none of those psychics saw that one coming, huh?
Oh, there you go. Here, look. Here, I'll send you guys a link. There, I sent it to the group. That's an IMDb page. If you scroll way down, series production manager, it only lists me for 2 episodes. That is untrue. It was all 12 or 15, I think it was actually. So yeah, that. I did that. If you scroll down, but yeah, that was what I did for a year. It was hilarious and terrible.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
No picture though.
No picture. No.
Picture, yeah.
No picture. But it does have me in there for my IMDb page has Triforce Podcast, Dota 2 the video game, Psychic Private Eyes, and a short that we made at the Yogscast called The Legend of the Planeswalker, which was a Magic the Gathering promotional thing.
That's a resume right there.
There it is.
You could do anything with that.
Hey.
Still got a chance to go back to TV.
Go back to TV. I mean, I would. I know quite a few people that work in the industry, but it's not fun. Being on camera is fun. Not being on camera is not fun. I mean, I've learned that in esports. When you look at take the observers, that's not fun. That's fucking 73-hour days just observing Dota. Like, I couldn't do that. So in terms of now having got used to the cushy life of being on camera talent, I couldn't go back. I couldn't.
Is this the cushiest job you've ever had, Ted?
Oh God, yeah. Easily. I'm my own boss. I love what I do. The pay is nice. Like it pays well. And it's like when I tell people what I do, they can't believe it. Like, why wouldn't of course this is a cushy job. It's hard work at times. and a lot of the time it's a lot of travel or being away from home. But I absolutely fucking love the fact that this has been a thing I've done. If you if you told younger me who really wanted a computer, and my dad wouldn't get me one because he's a stingy bastard, all those years I was praying for some way to play video games all day long, couldn't do it, and now I fucking have it. Oh my god! But I mean, if it was like the payoff is you'll be bald and old, I'll be like, I'll fucking take it. I don't give a fuck. I'll do that deal with the devil at the crossroads.
And it's a
Avery knows
job
what
that a
I'm
lot of
talking
people.
Avery knows what I'm talking about. He's wearing a
Yeah,
fucking
mine
hat
was.
like a cow.
I had a different deal. It came in a bit too early, but that's life.
How old are you?
We'll take it. 31 now.
Yeah, I was about that age when I started going. You made a good decision in shaving it.
I was going bald at like 20, dude.
No, but so I was starting to lose it at 20.
Oh yeah,
but it
feel like
clung on
that's-
for a while.
that's pretty common.
Yeah, I think
Not
you
bad.
start to notice a lot of hairs in the bottom of the shower and
Yeah.
shit like that. Some cunt like Austin comes to me and fucking shows me his hairline. He's like, I think I fucking shut the fuck up, you bitch. You got a full
To
head
be
of
clear,
hair.
I've never done that.
Yeah, my fucking hairline.
Ted, I remember one time you said you were personally offended by the fact that I had a mohawk because it was a waste of good hair.
Yeah.
Now, I'm growing out my hair.
It's a good
I will
point.
give you an
If
opportunity.
you have a
What would-
man bun, I'll fucking shoot you in the face next time I see you.
I am giving you. What would you like my hair to look like? I'm trying to figure that out right now.
I don't give a fuck.
You can decide if you want.
Just not shit.
Okay.
If it's shit, I'll say. If it's fine, I'll say that's fine. What's
Ted
Ryan
has a
Gosling's
pretty-
hair right now? Ryan Gosling, he's a
Ryan-
good-looking lad.
Whatever.
I mean, that's kind of an
Gosling
unfair
was.
comparison, right? So
Austin's a good-looking lad. Like Ryan Gosling's
Yeah, but
hair,
I mean-
poor man's Ryan Gosling.
just
it's
kind
like
of
a mortal to a god,
tousled hair, like just a good-looking. I don't really care too much. You got a similar hair color to him. Look at Ryan Gosling's haircuts. Go for that.
Okay. All right. I'll take a picture of Ryan Gosling to my barber next.
I look like Ryan Gosling.
What accent's that, dude?
London.
I have a franchise. Ted has had a turbulent history with actor and comedian Stephen Fry. Do
No,
you have some interaction with him?
no.
No,
It
I
was-
thought this was going to be a Sir Action.
No,
Song
no, no,
story,
no,
like
no.
how he had with the theater with
I
whatever
mean, I
that
can
guy's
tell you
name
that
is.
wasn't true. There's no way this man got to Stephen Fry. That he's way too big of an A-list
No,
celebrity.
it's you know the game Rust?
Yeah.
You heard of Rust?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we do Rust RP servers, like role-playing servers.
Yeah.
And we would do a stream for Jingle Jam every year, which is like a Rust role-playing session, almost like a D&D adventure, where a bunch of my subs, really good lads, the goons, would put together this sort of complete world and drop me, Spiffing Brit, and Wilsonator, and we play through it like you would a D&D adventure. And in the Rust world. And it was great. It was amazing. And we would also do little Rust RP servers off Jingle Jam just for fun, where we'd get like 100 odd people, and we'd say, all right, no shooting each other, just fucking build a little world, and we'll make shops and fucking houses and castles and do whatever. And whatever you want to do, we'll fit it in and we'll make it work and it'll be fun. And so I started Flaxy Cabs, which was my cab firm when they brought cars into Rust. And I would drive around. People would call the number because they added phones. I would answer the phone, Flashy Cabs, and they'd tell me where I'm in G8 next to the dome, need a lift to the port in A1. Like, oh, yeah, be there in 5 minutes, mate. Yep. And I'd get in my car, drive up there. They get in the back of the cab, and I drive them. And while I'm driving, I do what cabbies do and say, oh, mate, you never believe I had in the back of my cab last week. Stephen Fry, absolute fucking legend. Yeah. Tipped me 50 quid, he did. Lovely bloke. National treasure. So I just do that. I just talk about Stephen Fry. But then I think he might have been in one of the Rust RP sessions that we did for the Yogs, and I might have killed him or he killed me or something. I can't remember. But yeah,
Okay,
that's all that's a reference to.
Did you get any speeding tickets while you were?
Have you ever done the GTA RP? Isn't that really big? Why don't you do something like that? If you...
I never have because
Ted hates America.
No, I love America, as you know. I've never done it. I don't know anyone else that does it. I kind of stopped playing GTA after GTA 5. I played online for a bit, and I was like, "Damn, this sucks." So I stopped, And then when the RP stuff came around, I was like, well, I'm already kind of doing that with Rust. I don't really feel a need to do it in GTA. So I just never did. Maybe with GTA 6, if there's an RP server and stuff, maybe I'll get into it. But yeah.
I mean, I heard Stephen Fry plays GTA RP.
Now.
You should probably hit him up. Might be
Sure,
able to
I
get
mean,
something
good
going.
mates, obviously. I had him in back of my
Yeah, you know him personally.
Yeah.
All right, Ted, final one. Since I know you've got a date with Dota.
I can talk longer. My lads aren't ready yet.
Ted is a fan of Japanese animations.
Yeah, exactly.
And watches a lot with his daughter.
See, it's a load of shit. Absolute made-up wank.
Wait, do your daughters, like, a lot of people think that streaming is, like, the best gig you could possibly have, sort of thing, right? Your daughters never, like, oh, I want to be a streamer, like Dad?
No.
Nobody's ever, neither one of them has taken that at all?
So I did do some streams with them, and I mean, I did the MRE streams where we ate military rations on stream. That was like about an hour and a half stream. I did those a couple of years ago, I think, or last year. I actually found some I haven't eaten. I'm sure they'll be fine. So we might do another one. But the thing is, they're very expensive, and you kind of run out of ones you can get hold of. Like the American ones are easy to get hold of. A lot of the European ones are easy to get hold of. I've already done them. I did the Russian ones; they were terrible. I did Kazakhstan Russians. Once you've gone there, it's like, geez, well, where do you go from here? I couldn't get any Chinese ones or Japanese ones or Korean ones or Vietnamese ones or Thai ones. I would like to do something like that. But they are hard to come by and expensive. So that kind of died out. They loved doing that. And they loved reading chat and stuff like that. And my mods were like, high alert. If anyone says anything fucked up, we're going to delete. It was really good. It was manageable. But they've never expressed an interest in streaming. Their friends, when they say, what does your dad do? Which is a thing you ask people. What's your dad do? And they tell them, no, he doesn't. Like, no, he does. He does streams. He does like video games and stuff. Like, what are you talking about? Whenever I have to talk to another grown-up of my age, and they're like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, here we go. I'll have to tell them. And it's kind of embarrassing because it's like stupid.
Have you ever just lied? I lie sometimes.
I say I work in computers. IT stuff.
There you go.
If I don't want to answer, I'll just say, just IT stuff. They're like, because most people that don't work in IT won't say. The moment they do say, I work in IT, I'm a programmer, what do you do? You're like, fuck. Well, I'll tell you, because you probably know. But if it's like, I'm a lawyer and I'm a doctor, you're like, yes, I work in computers, actually. Not, I play video games for a living. Or the net follow-up question is always, you must be really good. I'm like, well, imagine the opposite situation.
You think the world would be a better place with more child labor?
How old?
Like 5 years old, you get sent into the mines for
what
like
are they,
6
just
years
mine
of service.
work?
Yeah, just hard labor. Like hard fucking manual labor.
Worthwhile.
So no schooling, just straight into the mines?
Well, no, then you have a normal life after. It's like
How
a military, like a mandatory service stint, right? Like a 3 or 4 year period when you hit like 4 or 5 years old before you go into school. Just hard fucking labor.
So
you think the world would be a better place, Ted?
I will say 4 or 5 they don't remember enough. You want to get them at like 8, 9. That's when
I'm not a scientist, so I'm not,
8 years old, you get some nice preschool shit, which makes you think life's going to be good.
Okay, sure. You teach them to read, then you send them in the mine.
Straight down, because they need to read the sign that says
exactly
danger, gas,
and
shit like that, right? 8 years old until 12 years old, they're down the mine, or they're like smashing rocks, or digging for jewels, or drilling for oil.
Not even anything useful.
No,
just
fucking
worthless.
4 years of rocks, just making sand.
No precious minerals.
They turn up at day 1, see these rocks, until they're all sand, you cannot leave. And it's like a quarry full, and there's just a 30-kid class. You were talking, Avery, about how misery bonds people. They will never have better friends than the ones they make.
That's what I'm saying.
8 and 12.
That's what I'm saying.
Smashing rocks in the quarry.
Social benefit, mental health benefit, physical health benefit, life experience.
Bam.
Every job you have afterwards is going to feel easier because you worked in the mine, right?
Dude, there's a game called Hearts of Iron. You can play as the German Reich. You'd fucking love it with this kind of mentality.
I don't know. Something to consider, Ted. Just something to consider. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Just like throwing it out there,
Yeah. Very utilitarian of you to think that.
I'll tell you one thing. Those kids that go in the mine, they're surviving a 40-mile-per-hour hit. I'll tell you that. They're getting up after that shit and walking it the fuck off. I'll tell you that much.
Your cars are right off after that. Your cars.
You could probably go 50, honestly.
Oh, man.
They're rock iron. They're like,
Yeah, they're
You know,
gonna
those are
fucking
some
come around and
fucking-
punch you. They're gonna
Your
be
car,
like,
yeah, they're gonna break
fucking
your car.
started something, right? Yeah. 8-year-old.
Left a dent in my car. Must have been one of those mine
One of
children.
those mine kids, like the Hulk.
Well, I was gonna ask Avery if you had any more questions, but you already started that with the.
Well, I
should
could
we
sit
have
and talk to
child
Ted all
labor?
day.
I mean, I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to talk for longer. I'm having fun. I don't mind. I said 8 because I thought it'd be a stack, but there's no stack, so let's go. I mean, if you guys want to stop, we can stop.
No. I'm good to. It's
It
up
looks
to
like
Austin. He's the
I've
host.
been
Austin
Austin wants to go.
I've asked lots of questions. You're the co-host, motherfucker. I've been doing Dota again. I haven't played Dota for like 3 months. I'm getting back into it.
What do you
Did
mean you
some solo
haven't
queue.
played for 3 months? Aren't you a Dota commentator? Is this guy
Yeah,
even
and?
a professional?
Listen,
How can you commentate when you don't even play?
for
The
10
fuck?
years,
Get this guy out of my scene. The
For
fuck?
10
I'm
years,
appalled.
I was the play-by-play who played the
Into
most
the
Dota
mine.
by far. All right, I could take a 3
We got
month
some
break.
rocks need smashing, you bitch. Get down there and smash some fucking rocks.
Listen,
You know
I was
what,
in the
Austin?
military. I'm good with smashing rocks. Okay,
We'll
that's
see.
my
We'll
idea
see.
of a good
We'll
time.
see. Next time we meet up, I'm going to hire a car. I'm going to trick you into the middle of the road and drive at you at 40 miles an hour. If you don't bounce off my car and get straight back to casting, your career is done, my friend.
I like how he uses that as an excuse. Like, I've played the most of any play-by-play. But when I took like a 2-month break from Dota, he gave me so
You're
much
the
shit.
analyst.
He
You're
gave me
supposed to know
so
this
much
shit.
shit. And my argument at the time was like, I have literally 35,000 hours in this game. If I took the next 5 years off, I would still have more time in this game than like 99% of people, you know? And it wasn't even like I wasn't watching Dota. I was still
Right.
paying attention. I just wasn't playing. He gave me so much shit. But now this guy like is
Listen,
using
I
my
didn't want
exact
another
arguments
Kyle
to
situation
defend
on my
himself.
hands. You know,
It's like a
to
fucking
deal with
OJ
it.
Simpson trial over here. You know, if the MMR doesn't fit, you gotta quit. Like some stupid ass shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
My
makes up
MMR
these
was pretty
arguments.
close to yours at that time. I'm just saying.
What do you think about MMR inflation, Ted?
Yeah,
I
Ted,
do
have you
think it's-
caught any of that? Have you
Oh,
gone
yeah.
up in MMR?
Oh, yeah. No. So I don't play ranked. I play unranked mostly.
Okay.
Because people treat the game like the main way that I try to play Dota is for fun. And I realize that doesn't always come across on the stream. I get that. I apologize for that. That's something I've been working on in the last few months is that aspect of being better about being a teammate and not being if I'm going to be angry, it should be funny, because I'm not actually angry a lot of the time.
Mm.
I just am a naturally very loud, obnoxious person. So I want to try and make sure that when I'm angry, people realize it's not real. It's just me shouting because I'm loud.
Do you take that same energy to the Hearts of Iron stream? When
100%. Apart from, I'm getting angry at a computer. I'll always get fucking angry at a computer when it just fucks you. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But so a couple of things. Last year, my friend Joe, who I recorded the Scrubcast with, we had a big falling out. And it was about a game of Dota, and it was like standard shit where it's just a bad day, bad game. Everything adds up. We both had enough, and we fell out hard. That was the first time I've really fallen out with someone for a good few months. And I was really, really upset by it. And it's the kind of thing that makes you think, well, I got to be better. Like that, you can't fall out with someone over a game of Dota.
Or they need to be better. I had my fallout with Slacks. My end of it was he needed to be better.
That's fair. I don't want to say I love my boy Jake, but that motherfucker. Everyone I know, all my boys, I'm like, we're gonna play Dota, and I'm like, I'm gonna invite Slacks. They're like, ooh, about that, you know, like there's
that came up. I gotta go.
I gotta go down to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth is calling.
Bournemouth emergency.
I mean, you're gonna fucking get a few speeding tickets escaping that game, I tell you.
So you think you were the problem with your
yeah, 100%.
your blow?
I think I was, because a lot of people are not loud, and to me, people being loud is funny. It always has been, and I don't mind that kind of liveliness and that loudness.
That's why you like America.
Yes,
true.
America's a very loud place.
It
a lot
actually
of American
makes sense
comedy is
now.
loud.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, obviously, I grew up in New York. It's a very loud, in-your-face place, and there's not a lot of meaning behind a lot of it. It's just very vocal, and you just talk shit and a lot of anger and a lot of yelling. But it doesn't mean anything. And British people are not like that. they're quite quiet and reserved a lot of the time. So when you come in and you're loud, they don't know what to do about it, because that generally means, oh, we're going to fight now. Like in general, British people are far quieter than Americans. Get a couple of drinks in America, like, woo! What's all that shit with the woo? You know what I mean? All that. They're all about that.
With the woo?
Yeah.
Woo! Are you serious, dude?
Like that. I fucking hate that
Dude, you
shit.
can't say that, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I can.
What the fuck?
What do you mean?
What the fuck, dude? You can't just be like, what's your situation with the woo?
Yeah, what's the fucking woo? What is all that?
What do you mean, what is it? It's
what's the fucking
awesome.
deal? It sucks.
It's fucking awesome.
It's awesome. What do you mean, what's
Woo,
wrong?
fuck off.
It's people expressing having a good time. That's the problem with the rest of the world. You know, I've been thinking about this. Like that, I think Americans get a bad rep.
America's the best, by the way.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
America's the best.
That's not what I'm saying. No, America's fucked. It's completely fucked.
Right.
But I think Americans get a bad rep in this department because people interpret them being loud and obnoxious as obnoxious.
Right.
Which is definitely true to some extent.
Right. But
it's also kind of but it's like them expressing that they're trying to enjoy something at the same time. And there's a lot of places you go in the world, people don't do that.
But there are a lot of places in the world where they do. And I think...
Like where? Like where, Ted?
South America. A lot of South America. Spain. Yeah. Italy is like that. In a regard, they're quite loud and very vocal. A lot of parts of Africa, very loud, very vocal. If they're having a good time, everybody knows they're having a good time.
You know where it's not like that?
England.
The fucking French, dude.
No,
that's why they hate our ass. That's why they hate our ass. Because Americans go over there and they're loud as shit.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yo, calm down. You know, this is France. Well, and they fucking hate that shit.
So as a foreigner...
That's why they hate everybody.
Let me tell you something about Americans abroad. And I realize as an Englishman talking about foreigners abroad, I am the worst. All right. Brits abroad is like, there's a TV series called Brits Abroad. It's just all the very worst British people abroad being loud and shit. Because we like to laugh at ourselves and be like, look at this fucking dickhead, he's being awful. And then we're awful as well. Anyway, here's what it's like if you're in a bar or a pub or a restaurant and it's all English people and there's one table with some Americans. Okay. So it's like murmuring conversation. And this is what you'll hear from the other side. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, oh, that is so true. Absolutely. You know what? You're so fucking right. Yeah. Oh my God. High five. High five on that. You're so right, dude. You're the best. Woo! That's why you're the best. It's like that. And we're just trying to have our meal. And we're just like, what the fuck are these Yanks going on about? Yeah, woo! Like, we're not American. You can't be that American in this place. All right? You can't do it. You got to try and get with the vibe and chill a little bit.
Okay, but Ted, I ask you this, Ted. Let's say you were feeling frisky and you went over to that American group, sat down with them, started drinking with them.
Oh, that's a great night.
Got into it 30 minutes in.
You're
telling me you wouldn't have a great night.
I'd have a fucking great night. The moment someone goes for a high five, the night is over. I'm just saying. I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, bro. I'm like, I mean,
that's some bro shit.
I hate that.
But you wouldn't get a good woo in?
I'm not a wooer.
I don't know. You seem to have like a little bit of a focus on it. I'm just saying, maybe you should try it.
It's just too much.
I mean, I don't think I've ever wooed in my life. So
American audiences, well, a lot of wooing, and also, I see this American audience will clap instead of laugh. I'm like, what
clapping
are you
in theater and clapping
like,
when the plane lands.
Plane lands. We do that.
Stop.
It's what we call common.
Yeah, but I feel like
it's very common.
Nobody in America understands that shit either, and I don't know who does it. It's like there's like robots that the government put in the world to do this shit to like make it seem normal, because no real person does that. Like you talk to any person, they're like, yeah, I think that's stupid and cringe. I've never met a person who's like, oh yeah, I fucking do that shit, right? So who the fuck is doing it? I don't understand.
Idiots. You guys are smart lads. You don't know that many idiots. You know, like you got one on the podcast, but in general, you don't know that many idiots, I'd say. So that's why you don't know. If you met a bunch of idiots, they'd be wooing and fucking clapping on landing all over the place. You'd be like, who the fuck are my friends? That's where you'd be.
But I feel like they have more fun in life. Like ignorance is bliss.
It is. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. I feel like you just go around wooing and clapping It's probably fucking, it's like a holiday all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, you know who did that? And he's definitely not an idiot. He's a very smart guy.
Jenkins. You're going to be talking about Jenkins.
He can be an idiot every once in a while.
You were talking about Jenkins.
Nahaz did that. Nahaz was such an enthusiastic guy that he would be a guy who would clap, or he would stand up and.
Oh, Ted, have you ever?
Nahaz was about that.
Ted, have you ever gone back and watched, or have you ever watched the old VODs from the Mafia Town, the BTS? Those VODs
Many times, brother.
are so
Many
good because
times.
Nahaz is just, dude, he is like I don't know like what was going on with him back then. I mean, I kind of do. I'm not flaming him or anything, but like his 0 to 100 has to be one of the fastest clocks I've ever seen in a human. Like it's
The
just
best.
instant.
The best blow up
0 to
I've
100.
ever seen in esports. Like, I wish I'd been there live. I wasn't there because it was in LA to see that. Tell me what's so suspicious about me. Tell me, and the room just dies. Everyone just freezes because it's like, how bad is this moment that we're all enduring? But everyone in that room, Avery, stronger because of it. Stronger because of it. I'm telling you.
That's true. Another reason I like watching those VODs, or I watched them recently, is because there's all these people that you know, but it's like a time capsule. It's them from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're so different.
Yeah.
They're so different. You can see the same person, but I think it's actually rare you get footage like that of people from 10 or 15 years ago.
Like,
in like
an
experimental setting.
Yeah.
Like a fucking research, like a Stanford prison experiment or something, right? It's like some high tension mind fuck experiment. So you're seeing people in like a high emotional state, but from a very long time ago before they matured.
Yeah.
It's actually extremely interesting to me because I was watching, I'm thinking, where else would you ever get to see that about anybody you know in life? Like, think of everybody you know. Could you go and watch them from 10 or 15 years ago?
I mean, maybe a video we've taken, but
it was like a home video, but whatever. You're not going to like, oh, it's them, but younger. But this is like, you get to see their brain from 10 or 15 years ago.
This is them on camera for hours. This isn't like a 5-minute
video. It's so much
video.
time.
This is like, you really get to see the real them. You're right.
Yeah. It's so good. Like Austin from 15 years ago, such a beta bitch, dude. It's unreal.
What?
How much of like a beta bitch this motherfucker was. He's just sitting there all demure. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna concede my point to Blitz because I think this is more educated. I don't really have much to say. I'm just gonna." It's like so. It's just so different.
You know, Cap. I hate to say it, but I didn't like Join Dota, Cap. I thought you were a prick. And I didn't like.
Yeah, but a lot of people thought I was a prick. A lot of people just get that vibe from me from the jump, you know.
No, not now. Now you're like, if I met you now, I'd be like, this dude's chill. But when I saw you, you had that. Your haircut was the haircut of a twat. It was like a twat haircut.
Okay, you don't have to lay into him like that, Ted. I'm talking more about
like shit.
Personality growth.
Dota capitalist and shit. I was like, this guy's a cunt. And then I met you, and I was like, he's just like your standard Yankee. He didn't really say much. Got to know you, I'm like, top lad, absolute top lad. Love this guy. But the person, my final point on this, the person I watched that is the exact fucking same. Slacks.
Out of everybody in that group.
Slacks.
No, I actually think Slacks has changed a bit.
Okay. I think he has too.
It was the person was the exact same.
Owen.
Well, Owen is Owen.
Okay. Yeah, Owen is like a perpetual state of Owen.
Yeah, I don't. He's probably been the same since he got out of the mines at like age 11.
Suns fan hasn't changed in the whole.
I think Ken Hotbid.
Oh yeah,
it's the exact same person.
Okay, that's different though because he was already like that footage of him.
He was a little.
He's in his 30s at that point.
Yeah, he's a little more older. But I'm saying just like the exact. I could see him playing those games the exact same way.
Yeah, the whole time I've known Ken, he's been the same Ken. 100%. He's not been.
But you are right. I do think Owen is like in that. There's certain people like that.
Yeah.
They just don't change ever. Like they just are who they are, and that's it. And that's who they're going to be. Like Owen's in that category. I think Ken's in that category. Yeah. That's where I don't think Slacks is. I think Slacks actually changes. Like he mellows out.
Yeah, known him for 12
points,
years,
and he makes others extremes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not like that. I think.
I would say he's when he first started out, everything was so new and he was so awkward.
Yes, he's really.
And now I think he's so assured and realizes what he's doing and how good he is at it. I miss seeing more of him because I don't see him as often as I'd like to. Because generally, when organizations hire, they'll hire one of us, and generally him because he's much better. So I have never done a Dream League with him, for example, because I think at the moment they're like, well, we could have one idiot, but we can't have two. You know what I mean? So when I get to see him at TI, that's about the only time we really hang out. But yeah, I love him. He's one of my favorite people. He's really fucking funny, incredibly smart guy, neuroscientist. I mean, what the fuck? I spoke to him. He was the first person I messaged after I had my falling out with Joe. I messaged him to talk about it, and he didn't just be like, Lamau, that's how it is, dude, or ha ha, just Dota things. He gave me a really intelligent, considered, informed response. And I realize he's not taking his own medicine because Slack has his own problems with toxicity. I'm not going to flame that. It happens. But he is a different person in Dota to the one he is. I mean, he will come in the room and be like, "Hey, what's going on, guys? We playing a little Dota." Woo! Like that. And you're like, "Yeah, great." And he'll sit down. Woo! And he'll play Dota. And 2 minutes in, he's like, "This motherfucker in the off lane, you fucking piece of shit, fucking worthless Trent. We got this fucking bozo over here." I'm like, damn. My man is brutal.
The thing with him too is that I feel like he's the fastest for that mental decline
like
to happen.
that.
Like, before the game even starts, it's like, whoa, this motherfucker's wearing like drow cat ears, huh? Thinks he's like some fucking hot shit. He's gonna greet this game for sure. And then he just starts laying into him immediately. He's like, hey, you fucking piece of shit cat ear wearing motherfucker. Where are you gonna ruin this game? Like, it's like the game hasn't even loaded in.
Tier, if you pick a bronze tier hero,
yeah,
you know,
like,
I didn't know we were messing around on this game.
Yeah, that's a classic too. That's a fucking classic.
I didn't know we weren't treating this one serious.
Oh man, he's brutal to play with. Brutal. My mates literally won't play with him. They're like, we're not doing that.
That doesn't
again.
surprise me. Doesn't fucking surprise me.
But yeah,
whenever I have questions about, I go to him a lot whenever I have questions about psychology because he is so good about that stuff.
He's brilliant.
He really does know
that's his
all
background.
Shit about that.
But I think he's also he's instinctive. I mean, he's a very smart guy, but he's instinctively his takes are very good, and I trust his opinion on a lot of things when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, he's just fucking. You guys know him. He's hilarious. Like his stories, he can tell a story. His story about that fucking thing he filmed out in Southeast Asia where he had to be on stage because they were filming a movie about esports. I don't know if he's ever told this story publicly. I'm sure he has. Where he had to fill on stage for like 3 hours just solo with this crowd. He tells that story, and at no point is he saying it was terrible. He was like, it was the best gig I've ever had. I was like, God, I would die. I would rather die than do that.
There's something wrong with him that he finds that exhilarating and fun. Like nobody else I know would be like.
How rare a talent that is?
Yeah, it is.
Do you know how rare? People genuinely, when they ask people, would you rather die or do public speaking? Death, they would choose before public speaking. A lot of people are terrified of it. If you said to someone, you're going to be pushed out on a stage, it's going to be about 5,000 people there. You have to entertain for 3 hours with no material, no prep, no props, no assistance, no script, nothing. Good luck. Slacks is like, that is super rare. And that's why if you hire him for stage stuff for an event, people are just like, Slacks will come up with something. And he'll be like, I got nothing for this next bit. We're on in 2 minutes. He's like, I got an idea. Because his brain is just that fast. So, yeah, I can't say enough good shit about him. He's a great guy. But, yeah, so I spoke to him about that. And then, can I tell you guys something relatively serious that happened last year? I had kind of a breakdown when it comes to panic attacks, which I've suffered from for a few years, to the point where I went to hospital because I thought I had something really wrong with me. And they basically said to me, who have you been seeing about these panic attacks you've been having? I was like, what do you mean seeing? Like who? And they were like, a doctor. I was like, well, I didn't think there's anything you could do about it. Like, yeah, there is. And they were like, you should see your GP immediately, which is like your family doctor. So I went to see my GP and he was like, what have you taken? I was like, nothing. He's like, all right, we're going to give you some drugs. So they gave me some shit. And that's improved my mood a lot. And I found that when I'm playing Dota or I'm doing stuff, I can be a lot more easygoing. And it made me realize that a lot of my anger was just internal sort of struggle and fear and shit like that. That was just because my brain, when you're playing Dota, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, all my normal human self fades away. And it's like this raw id that exists in the game of Dota 2. And when I talk to my teammates, it's my inner brain, which is just like, you do this! Why you not do that? Why you die? What wrong? And I'm not being nice. And I'm not being funny. And it's not good to watch on stream. So since I've been on, it's in America, they call it Zoloft, I think. It's like a mood stabilizer. as soon as I told a few people I was taking this, like, oh, I've been on that. So it's one of those things that people don't talk about, but they should. So I'm trying to sort of, be a little more open about it than the average person would be. If you're feeling fucking stressed out all the time and panicky, you can see someone, dude. Maybe not in America because it'll cost you about $1,000. But if you live anywhere decent, you can get that medication pretty cheap, and it can improve your life a lot. I felt a lot better over the last couple of months.
Have you had a panic attack since?
Yeah, but way less, and
Yeah.
often diminished massively. It's not a thing that's on my mind like it used to be. Because I had my heart problems a few years ago, which was, I told you guys all about that, right? Where I had an operation, an ablation, which is where they burn some of the nerves in your heart, because I was having like a SVT attack, which is where your heart races like 220, 240 BPM, which is insane. I mean, if you listen to some music at 240 beats per minute, and you tell me that that's a healthy rate for a heart to be beating at, no way. So that fear of that happening again and again, which it did, it happened 4 times. I had to go to hospital to get it fixed. Like they give you an injection to stop it. That leads to a background concern. And that background concern leads to panic attacks and fear. And then any other baggage you've got from your history or your past comes back and haunts your brain. You're trying to get to sleep. You're worried about your heart. You're worried about your past. What did I say to this guy? What did I say? Well, blah, blah, all that shit. And your brain starts racing and you can't get to sleep, and then you start to panic. So one of the things that I find is when I'm working, playing Dota is perfect because I'm occupied 100% of the time. If I'm playing Hearts of Iron, I've got to worry about the Polish front, and I've got to worry about Czechoslovakia. What the fuck? And also, people are trying to kill me. I'm Adolf Hitler. I'm the hero of this story, and they're trying to kill me.
All right, Ted. Let's fucking calm down. This is a PG podcast here. I don't want to get clipped and shipped out. It's too hard here.
I put on 200 BPM music, by the way. I just quickly Googled that. I immediately started feeling like nervous. I immediately was on edge.
Imagine more than that. Like literally, when I went to the hospital, they said the highest recorded heart rate you had on our EKG was 240 BPM, which is insane, dude. That is insane.
How are you not dead? That's like that's death territory, bro.
Oh, but the thing is, it's not your whole heart beating. Like you've got 4 chambers, right? So the problem is with SVT, what should happen is an electrical signal travels from the vagus nerve. You can see I've had something to do with my heart because I know all this shit. The vagus nerve travels out across your heart in a pattern. And the pattern it travels out across along these nerves triggers the muscles in your heart to contract in sequence. Boom, 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 boom. Which is why you get that double sound for your heartbeat. With a supraventricular tachycardia attack, only one chamber is really firing. And the other's not so much. Because the signal is getting stuck in a feedback loop. So when you go in for an ablation, what they do is they send a very, very fine wire up with basically like a soldering iron, or as you could say, a soldering iron for some reason. You burn the nerves a tiny bit where you need to, as close as you dare to the vagus nerve. Because if you burn the vagus nerve, you need to have a pacemaker fitted for the rest of your life. You don't want that. Because the doctor said to me, "You're a young guy. We don't want that." And I said, "Bless you, doc." That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. But so they burn a tiny
35
bit.
Or what?
He was like older than me. So they burn a little bit of the nerve. But so the point is that it's just that one chamber firing over and over and over again. So your blood pressure goes lower and you start to feel faint and your chest hurts because your heart is overworked. And it's just exhausting and you feel kind of short of breath. So panic attacks feel the same. Your heart starts to elevate in your mind. Breathing, you start to hyperventilate. When you hyperventilate, your arms go numb, which is very common. If you hyperventilate, if you've ever hyperventilated, you'll notice tingling in the ends of your fingers. It's just the excess oxygen is having that effect. But your brain is saying, "Oh my God, it's a heart attack. My left arm is going numb. I'm getting tingling in my hands." So that leads to more panic. And when you've had any heart-related shit, it just spirals and spirals in your brain. So luckily, the drugs do work. Not the crack. That's done nothing for me. But
that's why I said you should try heroin.
Want a downer. You want heroin.
I should
heroin
get on the H.
will help you
get on the horse like Neil Young.
Well, I got nothing else.
Really?
Yeah, thanks for the Christmas special, Ted. That was really festive. Hearing about
we could talk about something cheerful.
I'm Adolf Hitler. I am the protagonist of this That's a great
really
quote
bought
for the
some-
Christmas episode.
I really brought some Christmas cheer here.
What did you do for Christmas, actually? Not even for Christmas. Over the Christmas period, what were you doing, Avery?
Me? I'm fucking Jewish, Dad.
I know, brother. I know. Avery Silverman, is he
So
Jewish,
basically,
really?
what have
Avery
I done for the
Silverman?
last like 10 days? That's what you're asking.
Yes. That's why I said not for Christmas, but over that period. What did you do?
I actually pretty much went full degen. Yeah, just been playing games.
Path of Exile. You strike me as a
No,
Path of
no,
Exile
no,
guy.
no.
I tried to get him
Austin-
into it.
Yeah, look,
I
I'm
tried.
not doing crack.
Yeah,
you know?
don't do
I'm
that.
not.
Fuck.
I know my limits.
Austin's
I've
there
been
with a
playing-
pipe on the street. You should hit this, man. It's real good.
No,
That's
I
literally what he
never,
told
I'd
me.
never done it before. I wanted somebody to do crack with me. I
Right.
wanted it to be a bonding
That
experience.
was
We
literally
would
his
both
argument
get
behind
hooked
it.
So
on
you're
crack.
Jonah Hill in Wolf of Wall Street? Do crack
Yes.
with me, bro.
Yes.
Yes.
He literally sent me a message that said like, "There's never been a better time to do crack cocaine than right now." What are you saying? What kind of friend are you, man? Like, no. I knew if I play that kind of game, I'd put like 300 hours into it,
Easily.
and I don't want to. I can put like 100 hours in a game, but I don't want to put 300. That's like,
I mean,
That's too
we
much
got
for me.
nothing to do for, potentially until like February, basically, because January is going to be mostly qualifiers. So
yeah,
just saying, it's a good time to go crack.
that's
Look,
you're not incorrect.
Everyone
but-
I know that plays Poe is like incommunicado whenever a new
Yeah,
season
I
drops.
just
For like 4 fucking months, I'm inviting to stags. Come on, Path of Exile. I was like, fuck off.
No, I
just looks
I
like
actually
years.
I did it for a week. I grinded it hard for like 5 days. I'm done. I went on
He's
a
one of those
binge.
guys who can do
I'm
crack,
done.
and he's just like, yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
I
It was
just-
just a
I-
Saturday
yeah,
night. Oh.
just did heroin for like 3 weeks
I
in the
did heroin
Bahamas
for a
and came
few
back,
weeks,
and I'm
yeah.
like, I'm good
It
for
was
another
fine.
few years. Yeah,
I'm fine.
you should do it, man. No one ever gets hooked.
You know, the
you
thing
should.
I've found is that the experience of being strong in a game doesn't actually. Some people really, really, really like that, right? They like feeling powerful, and that is basically PoE, right? It's just like
Right.
an engine to make you feel powerful, right? It doesn't really.
I don't
do
need
it
a
for me.
fucking computer
need the
game to tell
struggle,
me I'm
you know?
powerful. All right,
Yeah, Austin was in the military.
I made 2 people. You've killed 150 people. It's that's power.
It's just arithmetic, brother.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's just like I need the struggle. The most I enjoyed the game was when I was struggling with a boss. When I was just like, he's one shot me. What the fuck?
So you're saying that game wasn't miserable enough?
Yeah, actually, straight up. Yeah, it was actually too mind numbing and not enough pain.
Is
Yeah.
that Kierkegaard? Or someone? Which philosopher is it? Literally said, "Life without pain has no meaning." I can't remember.
Yeah. I've heard that phrase.
But
I
essentially-
have no idea where it's from.
Without struggle, what are the ups? You need downs for there to be ups. I mean, that's Dota. If I won every game of Dota, it would be really fucking boring because there'd be no fun to it. You'd win every time. You got to rampage every game and dump some people. This is why I don't understand Smurfs. Like, you must win almost all your games.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that? Like,
Well, they
come
sell.
on.
I mean, they're selling those accounts. That's
Yeah.
like a
It's a
utility.
money thing. Yeah.
But I'm glad that you've agreed with my
Schopenhauer.
conclusion on the child minds now, because that's really what it's about.
I'm
Ted.
not kidding. I
Instill
think-
some early misery, and everything is going to seem great after. Like you're not gonna need antidepressant drugs or anything like that when you're 30, because you'll think back and be,
That
hey,
was
at
the
least I'm
bad
not
time.
in the mines.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
Things will be great.
I feel like my opinion about the job that we all do, because if I'd only ever done this, I'd be like one of those spoiled streamers who's like, but instead I'm like, I fucking play video games for a living. And
Do you think a lot of Dota players are spoiled in that sense? The ones that have only ever done this. Obviously, some come from a background where they're using it to
Yeah.
elevate their quality. I'm not talking about that necessarily.
Right. You're talking about
Do you
Quinn.
think there are?
You're basically talking
Well,
about Quinn. I'm only kidding.
No, I'm not talking.
I mean,
I think there are a lot of players that aren't, but I'm saying there are some who I think are. They do have a little bit of that mentality.
I think most athletes of any variety are, I suppose, compared to the average person, a little spoiled in that they can earn a living playing a game, essentially. But I certainly, in all the years that I've been doing this, if I compare the people that were doing Dota at TI3 professionally, which was barely professional, compared to now, the difference is night and day. And I think that the amount of work and the professionalism of the guys at the events is night and day compared to. I mean, I don't want to throw any names under the bus, so I'm not going to.
You
but
can throw some names, man. Well, Merlini.
no, Ben was always
The consummate professional,
Yeah.
Ben Merlini Wu, of course, getting drunk before his match.
not Ben. I mean, I'm just saying that there have been pros that I remember back in the day who I would say were not doing the kind of preparation that is happening nowadays.
The thing is, I think it was the Wild West. Right?
Yes, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
You just
absolutely.
walked in the saloon.
I'm
asked
good at
for a
Dotes.
fucking
You're
beer.
on a team. Get him in here. Yeah.
It's like nobody knew what the fuck was going on. So I don't really blame people in those like.
Of
first
course,
3 or
I'm not.
4
I'm not
years.
blaming people. It was a
Yeah.
very different time. But so I think when we talk about them being spoiled, I would say the amount of work and travel and the number of tournaments the players are doing now, if they act a little spoiled sometimes, I think we should cut them some slack. Because
Do you think Talon are spoiled, or have the spoiled ones been weeded out over the years as the competition has stiffened? Some might say.
I think we're very fortunate. And I think that a lot of the stuff that we have fought quite hard for in terms of our expectations when we're at an event and stuff that we would like to be there and having things like a talent manager, that's a big plus. Didn't used to be a thing. You just go to events, you were just on your own. There was catering. Good luck, Now we have
You
someone
would
who's there
ask
to...
the project manager, it's midnight, we're hungry, please get us some food.
Yeah.
3 hours later, have you ordered food yet? No.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I've been...
I'm finishing up my PUBG game right now.
Oh, I know who we're talking about. But yeah.
Yeah.
There have been some events where, looking back now, I mean, I remember my very first event I ever went to. I had to share a room with a random dude I'd never met who was one of the producers. This was old ESL when they were old Turtle Entertainment or whatever.
Yeah.
And Flying DJ was there, and another guy was producing. And No Tidehunter versus Na'Vi was, I think, the final. That was super basic. And the players and the talent, we were all just in like a minibus for like an hour and a half from the station, from the airport. We were all in the same hotel. The casting setup was dog shit. The Russian cast with Vilat was just in the corridor. Like, it was all very bare bones. And when I think about us being spoiled compared to those days, I would say it's far more professional. And the fact that we have like a green room to go to, and the fact that they understand that although we look like we just sit around and yak and have a laugh and everything, that being on camera and having to not sound like a fucking idiot, or if you're commentating, having to be ready to deliver an absolutely brilliant cast every time, that is actually quite hard work. And even if we don't do a lot of work off camera visibly, on camera, it's a lot more pressure than a lot of people could handle. I would say stage hosting is the most stressful thing I've ever done. Having to go out there in front of thousands of people and get them excited is not something I thought I would ever have to do. That is very stressful. And someone like Slacks makes it look easy and natural, but it is not easy. It is really, really hard, and it fucks with your brain. So when I say we're spoiled, I think at times they've come to understand that what we do. You don't
want to be the old man. I'll be the old man. I think 100% the talent are spoiled now. Dude,
I think spoiled is the wrong word. I think we're treated appropriately. You say spoiled.
Okay,
I mean, he's talking about kids down a mine.
But I would say that there are. I think that 10 years ago, when we did these events, it was an experience that kind of sucked, and it bonded us together because you were talking about being on the bus. Like, we had to go in at the start of the day, and we all left at the end of the day. And as a result, there was a bonding experience as a result. But now we've got these shifts, right? And it's split up and everything. It did suck, 100%. That's why I think some talent are spoiled, because of the fact that it's way easier now, and they're complaining about it. Okay. I'm being the old man. Oh, you don't know what it was like back in the day. It's just so like,
you're talking
it's a lot easier now, and I hear complaints.
The newcomers complain, and we're like, you think this is bad? Like, yeah, I am with you on that, because I've heard people complain about shit. I've had people complain about shit at events, and I was like, I wouldn't even complain about that in real life, let alone in a fucking event. You're complaining about shit? Like, what? Like, this war is too wet. Like, that level of complaint. The air in here is... I feel like it's the wrong mix of oxygen and carbon dioxide, nitrogen and helium. It's just off by like 0.5%. Can I get a special machine in my room to fix it? That kind of shit. I'm like, what the fuck? They have water... in the fridge and food on demand. They're like, oh yeah, but the sofa doesn't match the wallpaper. The fuck? I get that. When you say spoiled, the newcomers sometimes. Also, people when I say they're talking about so and so, we're not talking about anyone in particular. Please, we're just saying in general. A lot of the time, we find ourselves doing it as well. We'll say we'll complain about shit. We're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, people have bad moments.
Yeah.
So
that's why you got to go with the mines.
Go back to the mines. You got to remember that.
You got to even people out.
I mean, the more we talk about it, the clearer
it's
it
just
becomes.
Sounding better and better. Yeah, you're on my side.
This is the way.
I will say the one thing I learned a lot about the talent experience off camera was how valuable the green room environment is to the quality of the show. And I think a lot of people underestimate that a lot until you experience a bad one. And
that's why I hate people who complain, because once they start complaining, you're fucking with the green room vibe. You fuck with the green room vibe, you're fucking with the show. And I think that's just unprofessional.
But to Ted's point of like, he was talking about people yakking in the back and whatever. I actually think it's important that people can chill and not be focused.
100%.
Because it drains your energy being on camera.
Yeah.
So if you fucking around with people in the green room is your way of relaxing, and then when you go on camera, you're in a good mood or you're in a good energy spot because of that. That is valuable.
Yeah.
Which
I could not
something
agree
I had to learn. Because otherwise, I remember Shiva got mad at me because I was like sitting there emo. And she's like, "You're bringing my energy down." I don't think she was actually mad at Shiva. I think she was mostly joking because I don't think she doesn't care. I'm not calling her out on this or whatever.
No, Shiva.
But it actually made me
lovely. But
it actually made me think about, like, I probably am having a subconscious effect by draining energy out of the room just sitting here.
I would say
I'm okay with it. But
if it feels like someone's not having fun, you do kind of feel like you're being annoying, and then you take that energy onto the broadcast where you hesitate and you think maybe I'm annoying.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, I think some of the funniest memes and stupidest jokes that we've had, or some of the best points that people have made on a panel, are because we've talked about it backstage. And people don't realize we're watching a game for as long as you are. We got to watch the draft. We got to watch the fucking game. It's long. It's like an hour minimum for a Dota Pro game, easily. There's a lot of time. You can't just sit there like, yes, I see what he did with that Quelling Blade. Yes, 2 tangos used. Intriguing. For an hour, you can't do that. Because you're not going to have time to bring that up. You have to come up with, what was the vibe of this game? What broke it down? What were some big moments? And being able to talk and hang out backstage and then be like, oh shit, that was big. Like, as a amateur player, whenever I'm watching Dota, I feel like I can see things that went wrong. But then when I watch it with someone like Avery or any of the high-level players, and they're like, yeah, he missed his so-and-so spell in that fight. I was like, how did you see that? Like, there's like 10 heroes on screen and all those flashing lights, and you spotted this one spell usage. That to me is fascinating. People think that's
that's the Adderall, Ted.
It's all happening at like this speed for them.
You just pop a couple of those babies for every shift. You're locked the fuck in. You ain't missing no fucking Rubik spell steal at the 48, 30 second mark.
Need that break on the Spectre if you want to be able to kill her quickly. He's got the 20 talent. He's got the extra HP. See it jump in here.
He just jumped in after. That RP was a little early. But you're looking at this Drow Ranger on the side, right? He's getting stunned up. My God, Echo Stomp from Insania. And slept up, I think. And either way, it's just Nisha hunting him the whole time.
Damn. But yeah, so I think in terms of the sport thing, I take your point. I think you're right. That perhaps people either have forgotten or weren't there for the very early days when it was terrible. But
see, I think it's true for players too.
Yeah.
Because in the early days for players, it was rough a lot of times.
Dude,
I never heard a complaint about table height 10 years ago.
Exactly.
No, that's true.
They were just glad there was a table.
That's why when I hear shit about, like, do you remember when the TOs tried to make players use the cameras?
Yeah.
There was that movement, and it took fucking forever. It's shit like that I do not understand. Like, I kind of get it because when I played way back then in the fucking 80s or whatever, like, I used to bitch about that shit too, because you're a player. So the player's always going to fight for whatever makes him comfortable or requires less effort from him, right? Him not using a camera is less effort. So he's always going to be like, yeah, I don't want to use a camera. Fuck you. Like, your job is to just make it happen. But that's also kind of like a spoiled mentality when I look back on it, and I'm including myself in that. It's like, how fucking privileged are you, like, that you get to do this and you're like, I don't want to show my face on camera. Like, you're gonna go on stage on LAN or whatever. Just set the fucking thing up. It takes 30 seconds. All of these kids know how to do this shit. It's not like you're tech illiterate because you're a fucking gamer. It's shit like that. It's like ridiculous, you know.
I mean,
and I remember going to LANs and like we would go to these LANs and like the power's going out every like 3 hours.
Right.
The monitor is like some bootleg monitor that doesn't even have a working cable. Like I remember people's monitors would just black out randomly. We're playing scrims and shit. It's like, and now kids are like, I don't have like 244 hertz. This is only like 140. I'm like, I mean, I get it. You get used to setups
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
that's how it should be. I'm not arguing they're wrong, but maybe I'm like, I think it is part of getting old as you look back and you're like, you know, that shit was way fucking rougher when I was doing it. So therefore, why should you bitch now? But bitching is a way to maintain a standard and
Yeah,
improve
of course.
it. So it makes logical sense. But I do have that part of me in me too that's like, shut the fuck up and like you can deal with it for like a couple hours.
You're
know?
getting
What the fuck's
just
your
old enough
problem?
now where you can be like, back in my day, like you can legitimately give it
Yeah.
that.
But I feel
when
like
you
I
do
always
it,
had that. So
well, that's just your personality. But I think,
yeah, I know. But now I have the age to back it up.
of course. But it's one of those things where when you say it, people like mock you. But in a weird way, quite often it can be quite right at times to be like, you guys don't know how lucky you are. But then again, I'm not pining for those days. Like I'm not hoping we could go back to
Yeah,
when
exactly.
it was sloppy and unprofessional and
Yeah.
shit. Shanghai Major and that level of just wank. But I mean, talking about the players, TI4. I don't know if people know what the setup was at TI4. This was when the VIP fans were still basically hanging around near the players at events. And TI4, it was at the hotel in Bellevue, and it had a big conference hall, and they had these big screens with all these chairs, and the VIP ticket holders could come in and watch the games, the group stages in there instead of at home. And to one side, there were a series of just trestle table, like basic tables with hotel chairs, and all the computers were there for the players to play on. They didn't have computers in their rooms. They didn't have team rooms with computers like they do now. They didn't have any of that shit. They just had computers there. That's where you practice. So if you're practicing, you're scrimming next to your opponent. And the food was just catering that the hotel chucked out. I remember for the Asian players, they were really miserable because when they turned up, all the food was a giant pot of rice. That was it. And you had all the Western food for the Americans and all the Westerners, and just a bowl of rice. And they were like, fucking guess we're getting takeaway then. And that was it. And the setup was awful. The VIP fans were right there next to the players, and the players were scrimming right next to each other. It was terrible. So when they complain now about table height or monitor speed, I do feel like if you were around 14 TI 14 2014 TI 4, you would realize this is amazing compared to what you've got. So yeah,
We don't want to go back. We just want to be able to instill that memory in other people.
yeah, I agree.
We need that Neuralink shit.
Fuck that.
They experience them being in the mines.
All right, that's enough. That's fucking an hour and 50. Let's call it there.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ted, for coming on.
Oh my god, it's so great chatting to you, lads. I
Yeah,
love
it
you,
was fun.
boys. Top lads.
Yeah.
Love you too.
See you next week or what, man?
Yeah, what's your New Year's resolution?
Lose weight, get healthier.
Okay.
Well, that's
it.
not gonna happen.
Good luck. Gotta try.
There's the Grinch. There's the Grinch. And we're gonna see
Are
you
you?
at more Dota
Is that
events?
actually it?
Is that?
Was that
Yeah,
actually it?
Yeah, I've got to.
Why
My
don't you
doctor
gym
was-
at the fucking Dota events then?
That's
Yeah,
my
we
plan.
gym all
No,
the time.
I'm
Alright.
actually gonna do it. I'm gonna actually do it.
And
I'll
you're
see you
gonna
fucking
go
there,
to
dude.
more Dota events, right? Because your kids are old enough now that you can.
I mean, I
head out
said
and do these sort
I
of
said
things?
to, I don't want to name any names, but I said to the people that are doing hiring and stuff, I said, look, next year, I said, now I don't really have any need for childcare and shit. Like any ties, you need me for shit, I'm there. I mean,
said, who the
hopefully-
fuck are you?
Who?
Ted fucking who? Who's this guy?
What? So yeah, I mean, I did more last year, I think, in terms of work and going away than I've done at any point. I did 2 long stints at Dream League. I did TI. I think I went down to Bristol 3 times. I did some other shit, and then it adds up in terms of time away. I hate leaving the house, but I do enjoy the work, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, hanging out with you boys, you two in particular, I'm saying that because I'm on your podcast, really makes my day, and I love both of you. I think you're fantastic lads to hang out with. I wish you drank a bit more. You know what I mean? I wish you were out there for a few beers.
There
More
it is
regularly.
again.
We go out for a drink, like one drink. Yeah, I think I'm done. I've had a beer. I've had a beer. Had a beer.
Ted, do you remember why I don't drink?
Oh yeah.
The number of times in Dream League, Ted be like, "You get a beer?" I'm like, "No." Ted would be like, "Oh, why not?" I'm like, "I have a liver problem." Ted, "Oh, I'm sorry." we did that rigmarole
Like 8
4
times.
in Dream League.
Like 8 times, and this was a couple of months ago. I still remember.
Let's be honest. He's gonna do it another 8 more. It's gonna keep happening, which is fine. I respect it.
That's why
You need to
Fog
get
is my
Avery
boy.
more, though.
He will always come out for a drink with me. Always.
That's true.
A couple of degenerates. He's hitting the crack with me. I'm going, Fog, do you want to do crack with me? He's like, yeah, come on, bro. Let's do it. Hit this pipe.
That's what a good friend does, Avery.
Does
Does
crack
crack
with
with
people.
you.
That's right. Shares your crack bag when you're in a time of need. I respect that. You gentlemen are on a good path the next year.
Hell yeah.
I wish you the best. Thank you for coming on the podcast, Ed.
My
I will always
pleasure.
say you are my favorite person to hang out with at LANs that I feel like I rarely get to see.
Thank you so
agreed.
much.
Like the one person, if
Agreed.
I could up it more, I would up it. There's some people I'd put it down a bit, you know. Like if we could get some slacks out of there, push you in more. I'm gonna push for it this year. But yeah, I always regret missing a LAN you're at. So
Wow.
thank you for
Avery,
coming on my
thank you.
Christmas special. It was very special to me.
That's the
even
most
though I don't
sincere
celebrate it.
and kind thing you've ever said to me. You're going to
That's
follow it up
that's
by
my
telling
New
me
Year's resolution.
Really?
Is to say one nice thing to everybody. So I got
Well,
mine out of the way for you. So now
I'll
the
take
rest of
it.
you.
I'll take it. If the
Doesn't
rest
have
of the
to
year
worry
is
about
bad,
it
I'll
for
remember
another
this moment.
365 days.
2nd of January 2025, Avery was nice to me. I'll put it in my diary. Thanks.
All right. Well, I won't hold my breath for my nice thing. Thank you for watching. Not for broadcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.